Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Thank God for another day. No complaining, no crying. I told you I'm coming back for another one. And here we are. Pardon the noise, I'm back outside, but I'm on the main strip, so there's a lot more cars. But we're gonna get it done, you know what I'm saying? Dad Chat TV, man. We're gonna hear and talk a little bit about some current events, man. One of the current events we're gonna talk about is Pooh Shiesty, situation with Guccimaine and his dad. Oh yeah, Mets. Don't get it twisted. Hashtag New York for president. Yeah, man, we gonna sit around and chat a little bit, man. It's just me out here, man. So but the situation with Pooh Shiesty supposedly robbing Gucci with his peoples and his father. Now, Dad Chat TV, we're not here to talk about purely just current events and stuff going on. We're not just a reaction. We reacting, or we will talk about things that have to pertain with fatherhood. Dad Chat TV. My question to you and the world, I'll get my opinion after, was it a good idea for him to go do that? But specifically, was it a good idea for his father to be part of it? And was it a good idea for his father, for whatever reason, if he had any type of influence to say so, should he had gone with it? Or should he had talked his son off the ledge? Now remember the queso situation in Florida with the dad snitched on his son and all that stuff, which, that was a sticky situation because the son put the father part of some stuff he had no business being part of. And, I understood him saying he was older and he got a young kid that's still like very young, under 10 type age, but I still couldn't have done it. We'd have had to figure out a whole other way to give me some short time, and you know what I mean? And then we seen a situation, God rest his soul, to P&B Rock, where he was killed in the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles by a father and son setup and all this. So it comes to a point where, as fathers, what do these dudes need to get in their head to realize? If you're in the criminal world, have done criminal things, and have been through the trial and tribulation in which it comes with, in what society do we push our children or help them with it? I had a little brother, as we know, who, it wasn't quite my son, but it seemed like that at times, and he followed behind me, and I didn't influence him. However, as he got more into his own endeavors that was similar to mine on his own, my mom rationalized at that young age, which I don't regret fully, but my mom rationalized saying, let me give him pointers or help him since he's already doing it. And pardon me, y'all, my door gonna fly open. And I assisted him at some point. Now, it wasn't because I wanted him to be in the world I was and all that, but at that point, he was doing what he was doing, and my mind told me, sorry, y'all. Hopefully I'm still here. My mind told me that rather me help him than someone else who's definitely gonna do him wrong or steer him wrong. So I did it. Now, in the Pooh Shiesty situation with his father, what millions just came home. I can understand how people feel the contract stuff. That's why how I raise my daughters is I don't want them to see the world in which I see it, And a lot of us that come from the urban communities, whether we men or females, your instincts and your natural habitat ways might say, let me do it the way you did it, supposedly, if it's true. But the businessman in you would have should have said, I got too much to lose. I just came home. I'm up money. Yeah, this dude owe me whatever, 100 million, 200 million. This can't be the answer. There's nothing in that situation or in your brain that could have told you this would have been the answer. And as your father, respectfully, my opinion, I don't know about the rest of y'all, he should have pulled that boy off the ledge. Or at least tried to. And whatever happens after that happens because it is an adult. However, to go with it and end up on a case and lock up with your son behind millions of dollars when you're making $1 million and you're in a professional world, no matter what you might rap about, and you say you got to keep the street morals and all that good stuff. If Gucci did tell, he's wrong. Let me just say that. I don't care how much professional CEO I get. I'm not telling on nobody. Not at 60, not 70, not 80. That just ain't me. I got to file insurance claims for things or something breaking my house or something of that nature. That's a different situation. To where there's ways you can do it without telling. You know what I mean? But in that situation, I would have said I don't know nothing. If there's other witnesses that's here enough that they ain't gonna look at it the bad way, let them do it. But on the father tip, that man should have been able to tell him, because as his father, not say he's doing it just cause, but the reality of it is you're benefiting somehow, some way off your son's success too. And to let him do that, and now not only did you not get out the contract yet, it's gonna cost you money to fight these cases and this, that, and the third, and for what, bro? And then when you're on parole, whether it's federal or state, even if you beat certain charges, you can still get violations for being around certain people or certain stipulations. So you still lose at the end of the day. You should have took some lawyers, should bring them in there, ambushed them with your lawyer, and say, hey, I looked over these contracts, this ain't right, da-da-da-da-da. My client had, that's how you should have ambushed them if you did. But these fathers, man, we gotta start doing better. I have a nephew who I love like my son, who I'm gonna raise. I would never, outside of somebody try to attack me or something, hey, somebody take my boy on and beat him up or something of that nature. But I'm not gonna try to sit and promote and add on to him doing the wrong thing. When I did have a stepson, I told him things about my life, but I always told him at the end of it, whether I truly meant it or regret it or not, how young and foolish I was, and that the truth of the matter was I went with my circumstances. I could have went a whole different route, but I went with my circumstances. I didn't do the things that I've done and participated in just because. I mean, some of them I did at some point when I was young. But I wouldn't assist him to do anything. Although he ain't my stepkid no more, and I ain't probably gonna see him again no more. Like I said, that's their business. My nephew, and God willing, I have my own son, and I wouldn't, and I have older nephew. I would not promote them to do that. Like I said, you're grown, you make your own decisions, you live in your life, do what you want to do. Rob a bank, pimp, go sell them. You gotta handle your own candle when it's time to sit behind the walls and the hardship that comes with it. I know, because all my incidents and all my troubles, from a teenager into adulthood, I had to handle on my own. But fathers, we gotta do better, man. Like I said, we gotta try to influence our kids more, especially for some of us who have children that are already doing good in life. They gotta know that because you have a good career, good money, hardships and struggles are still gonna come. But once you get to that level of professionalism, you gotta handle it that way. You know what I mean? That's why they have different branches of court and law. Pooh, Shiesty, you tripping, man. You shoulda took that man to court, bro. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the God's honest truth. And Dad, you should have promoted your son taking that boy to court. Got that money that way, and everybody would have been all good. And now, who knows what this might have an effect on you even getting out of contract. They might be able to go to court and say, try to did all this, that, and third. Now we won't let him out of contract. It might have been a loophole y'all could have got out of for some reason before this. Now it's fruit from a poisonous tree. So that judge might say, I don't want your contract. You try to extort. You try to strong arm a human being. Like, nah, this stands. Now you're really up shit's creek. We gotta put our minds better places, man. Can't keep getting this money and screwing it up over emotional things. I have emotions, trust me, I feel a way about a lot of issues on this earth. A lot of people I'm in my own world. But I do my best to try to keep that internal. Because if not, I'll be doing these blogs from a jail cell. You heard? Because I would, like any other person, let my ignorance and my anger and my violence run with my emotion. They say you're not supposed to have emotion as a man, that's BS. You can have all the emotion in the world, it's how you deal with it. Feel sad, mad, upset, angry, jealous, disappointed, all that in the world. But you don't have, none of us have a right, including myself, to put it upon anyone. That's where we go wrong. And that's the wrongness of that. And yeah, dads, we gotta do better. Gotta do better, man. We gotta talk these kids off the ledge, man. We gotta talk these kids off the ledge. I watch a lot of mob stuff all my life. John Gotti, they say even other people in the mob told John he was wrong for getting his son made and brought into a life that you know it only ends up two ways. See what I'm saying? People gotta use their brains, man. They say the father is the only man on earth who will want another man to be better than him. And that's his son. And it can happen also with nephews, but that's no other man is gonna want that for you. So when these dudes are being steered wrong from beginning from the father, it's like, damn, do you really want the best for your son? Because whatever I have and have accomplished, whatever good or bad, I want my kids to have it tenfold, but in a legal way, so nobody can't take it. I would never encourage my daughters to do anything, my nephews to do anything. I made that mistake with my brother. And for that, I owe regrets. I was young, I didn't know no better. I'm doing my best to look over him, and like I said, I rationalized and I told myself, before somebody else get a hold of him and put him under the wing, let me do it. And it worked partly and it didn't work partly. And we both end up with troubles and cases. He do his own thing, but partly because the influence he's seen from his brother. And for that, I will always owe my mother and my brother regrets and apologies. Because my world was my world, and as good as I was at keeping it separate from them, it still spilled over at certain points in times. Police harassing my moms at a house 1,000 times, my siblings on the street, all kinds of stuff, you know what I mean? So let alone my little brother, or like I said, my nephews, I won't do it to nowadays. These fathers, man. I don't care what he owed, $100 million. Got caught for that. And that's not telling. We dealing with a contract. The man owed me money on the contract. I gotta handle it this way. Now, if you had an issue with a street dude and he took something from you, I can understand if you was to go back that way and handle it, wrong or right, a lot of money, rich or not, that's different. But you're dealing with another street nigga on a business level. And I'm dealing with another street nigga just in the streets. Part of my N-words, yo. You guys gotta learn, man. Too much money be flowing through their world in their hands. And nowadays, like I said, these rappers and these celebrities, and not even like the rapping celebrities from when I was growing up. These dudes is getting rich in their early 20s. So it's like, Lord, you can spend the rest of your life just comfortable besides the struggles of life dealing with women and humans, you know what I mean, and death and pain. But you set it up right to not have to struggle and worry about food and living. A lot of our celebrities, rappers, actors, they hit their financial stride into 30s, and Jay-Z's, the 50 Cents, you got a lot of actors for 40 years. They might have $100,000. And they went to school, did their craft and everything, you know what I mean? You people getting rich now at 21, 22, and y'all figuring out how to screw that up with a 40-year sentence. Make it make sense, y'all. Pooh Shiesty, do better. Papa Pooh Shiesty, you gotta do even better, bro. Dad Chat TV, we over here navigating through these waters we call fatherhood. Mess with me, y'all. Love.